Good morning, everyone. This is Dean Rocky Duhunko, and I am now delivering another lecture for you guys. And this time, this is for students who are studying forestry laws. This is module 3 of our SFES modules on forest laws and regulations. And in this module 3, we will study about the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, the DENR. So again, this module is specifically designed for forestry students. But if you want to know more about the DENR, you are very much welcome to listen to this lecture. So let's start. Ng DENR, and it was established in its present form in 1987. First, let's look at the history of the DENR. In 1974, Presidential Decree 461 reorganized the then Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources into the DA, Department of Agriculture, and a Department of Natural Resources. And it's PD 461 that provided the functional and structural configuration of the two departments. Okay? In 1987, January 30, 1987, EO 131 was issued, and it created the Department of Environment, Energy, and Natural Resources. But within a span of just 6 months, another EO was issued, and this time, EO 192 was issued last June 10, 1987. And this time, yung DENR, it was reorganized and renamed as the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. So it's EO 192 that established DENR's mandate, defined the structure and functions and concerns of its various offices, staff bureaus, attached agencies, including the Adjudication Board, created under the Office of the Secretary, field offices, pati yung mga regional, provincial, and community offices. Okay. So after that, no, ano ba ang mandate ng DENR? What is it supposed to do, really? According to its mandate, in EO 192, the department is the primary agency responsible for the conservation, management, development, and proper use. So siguro sa ngayon, yun ang pinakamahalaga, yung use of the country's environment and natural resources. Specifically, no? So ano-ano ba yung mga pasok sa term na natural resources? Specifically, forest and grazing lands, mineral resources, kasama dito yung mga nasa reservation and watershed area, and all lands of the public domain, as well as the licensing and regulation of all natural resources as may be provided for by law in order to ensure equitable sharing of the benefits derived therefrom for the welfare of the present and future generations of Filipinos. No? Kasi when sinabi nating lands of the public domain, remember in Module 2 we discussed this, that according to the Regalian Doctrine, as provided under the Constitution, it is the state that owns all the mineral resources, the natural resources, and all lands that are not within that are not considered agricultural, alienable, and disposable, and are not owned by private individuals. So let's say there is a piece of land at walang nagmamay-ari nun. Actually, the proper term is that it's the state who owns this piece of land, and it is considered as part of the public domain. No? So everything here, it's mandated that the DENR will be responsible for the conservation, management, development, and proper use of these resources, and they must ensure the equitable sharing of the benefits derived therefrom for the welfare of the present and future generations. Filipinos. Hindi lang yung mga kasadyang Pilipino, dapat pangalagaan din natin ang ating kalikasan para sa kapakanan ng mga Filipinos na ipapangalan. Those who will be benefit from our natural resources. Okay? Next, ano-ano naman yung mga iba pang objectives na meron ang DENR para nila or ma-accomplish nila yung kanilang mandato. The department shall be guided by the following objectives. They must assure the availability and sustainability of the country's natural resources. So when we say na the resources must be available and sustainable, hindi siya pwedeng maubos, right? So paano natin ito gagawin? Through the judicious use and systematic restoration or replacement whenever possible of the natural resources. Second, increase the productivity of natural resources in order to meet the demands of forest, mineral, and land resources of a growing population. Now, as our population grows, tumataas din ang demand natin for consumption ng ating mga natural resources. And it is the responsibility of DNR to increase the productivity of natural resources para ma-meet yung growth in population. Third is to enhance the contribution of natural resources for achieving national economic and social development. Fourth will be to promote equitable access to natural resources by the different sectors of the population. And last but not the least, conserve specific terrestrial and marine areas representative of the Philippine natural and cultural heritage for present and future generations. Ano naman ang vision and developmental goals ng DENR? When we talk about vision, this means na ano ba ang nakikita natin sa Pilipinas in the future? Ano ba yung ultimate goal natin? Right? So ang vision ng DENR is a nation enjoying and sustaining its natural resources and a clean and healthy environment. And the mission naman, ang difference sa vision is that kung yung vision is yung goal, ang mission is the reason why this agency exists. Ano ba yung pinaka-mission niya? Ano yung gagawin niya? What is the reason why the DENR is here? So the mission of the DENR is to mobilize our citizenry in protecting, conserving, and managing the environment and natural resources for the present and future generations. So as you can see in the first 4 words, to mobilize our citizenry, sama-sama tayong kailangan kumilos para i-protect, i-conserve, and i-manage ang environment. So the DENR, as the main implementing agency, yes, it's their main responsibility. But sino ang mga papakilusin nila? Tayong mga Pilipino. Lahat tayo kasama sa pag-protect, pag-conserve, at pag-manage ng ating mga natural resources. For developmental goals, ito yung mga organizational outcomes na gustong ma-achieve ng DENR. So the DENR now wants to promote human well-being and ensure environmental quality. Again, another outcome that we want to achieve is a sustainably managed environment and natural resources. And last but not the least, to enhance the adaptive capacities of human communities and natural systems are ensured. Okay? Ano naman yung ENR development principle? So ano yung mga gagamitin natin na principles that will guide us in achieving our developmental goals? So number 1, in doing our tasks para ma-achieve yung ating organizational goals, dapat merong good governance. Now, when we talk about good governance, this is expected of the government. there must be accountability, transparency, integrity, gagawin ang participatory, and predictability. Aside from that, dapat merong ease of doing business. Alright? Next is social justice. What is social justice? Ito yung para sa nakakabuti ng pangkalahatan. So there must be equity and gross national happiness. Okay. Next is social entrepreneurship. And then after that, we have partnership with civil society. Again, kagaya ng nasabi natin kanina, ang pangangalaga sa kalikasan ay responsibilidad ng lahat, hindi lang ng DENR, right? Next would be ecosystem integrity. Dapat ma-preserve yung ating ecosystems, right? Next is sustainable consumption and production. Kagaya ng sabi natin kanina, dapat lagi available ang ating natural resources. Okay? And then the seventh is that the polluters pay. No, they have to make payments for ecosystem services. Next, the eighth one is the rule of law. Of course, in doing our tasks, dapat masusunod ang batas. Na? The law must always be followed. And last but not the least, we are governed by the rule on honoring our global commitments. So there are several international treaties that actually ensure some of the principles related to managing our environment. And as part of these treaties or these agreements, the Philippines must honor our global commitment in accordance with these treaties. Next, so ano yung mga strategy na i-implement ng DENR para magawa itong mga ito? First is the adoption of the watershed or river basin framework in planning. Next is closing open access areas of forest land, so hindi na siya open access para sa lahat, by granting appropriate tenure or management arrangement. So hindi lahat ng tao may access sa ating mga forest. Dapat yung may mga permit lang ang makakapasok. Okay? Next is convergence approach among NGAs, LGUs, and CSOs. Tulong-tulong tayo. Okay? Next is area management approach. An integrated area development where all basic societal and economic services are delivered in an area for more impact. Okay? Next, capacity building of DENR players and teams, civil society organization partners, POs, and social entrepreneurs. Next would be the IEC advocacy and social mobilization. And last but not the least would be having certification systems. Okay. Ano naman ang organizational chart ng DENR? So in the head is the Department of Environment and Natural Resources is, by the way, headed by the DENR Secretary. Currently, the DENR Secretary is Madam Maria Antonia Yulo Loizaga. Okay? So yung mga naka-blue dito, these are the offices under the Secretary. So these are the offices in the national office. Okay? Then, as you can see, yung sa ibaba ng mga blue are the different bureaus. So right now, there are 6 bureaus under the DENR, which we will take up one by one. Okay? So ano-ano ba yung mga iba't ibang DENR bureaus? Sabi natin, there are 6. First one is the Environmental Management Bureau. Ano ang mandato ng EMB or Environmental Management Bureau? According to PD 1586, no, ang kailangan natin ay magkaroon ng Environment Impact Statement System. Ano ba itong PD 1586 na ito? At ano ba itong EISS? The Environment Impact Assessment System was formally established in 1978. Anong kailangan dito? ang EISS facilitates the and orderly balance between socio-economic development and environmental protection. No? Yung EIA or Environment Assessment, isa siyang planning and management tool na makakatulong sa government, decision makers, and proponents, and also the affected community address the negative consequences or risks on the environment. The process assures the implementation of environment-friendly projects. So for example, may itatayong building sa isang area na protected, no, dapat magkaroon ng EIA. Ano ang magiging impact ng construction na ito doon sa environment na malapit sa kanya, right? Isa pang mandato ng EMB ay ang Republic 6969. Ito naman ang Toxic Substances and Hazardous and Nuclear Waste Control Act of 1990. Ayon sa batas na ito, this law aims to regulate, restrict, or prohibit the importation, manufacture, processing, sale, distribution, use, and disposal. So lahat na of chemical substances and mixtures that present unreasonable risk to human health. So, kung makakasakit siya sa ating mga tao, dapat i-regulate at i-restrict ang paggamit at pagbenta at pagbili ng mga chemical substances na ito. This law likewise prohibits the entry, so bawal pumasok sa Pilipinas, even in transit of hazardous and nuclear waste. Bawal yan pumasok sa Pilipinas. And their disposal, bawal itapon into the Philippine territorial limits for whatever purpose. And to provide advancement and facilitate research and studies on toxic chemicals. Other mandates of the EMB is the Clean Air Act. So, dapat mabawasan ang pollutants throughout the Philippines while minimizing the possible associated impacts to the economy. Another is the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000, which is under Republic Act 9003. So dapat magkaroon ng systematic, comprehensive, and ecological solid waste management program that shall ensure the protection of public health and the environment. Diba? Kaya tayo, yung mga basura natin, pinaghihiwalay ang nabubulok sa di nabubulok or sa mga recyclable dahil sa RA 923. This law ensures proper segregation, storage, treatment, and disposal of solid waste through the formulation and adaptation of waste products. For Republic Act 9275, ito naman ang ating Philippine Clean Water Act of 2004. The law aims to protect the country's water bodies from pollution from land-based sources like industries and commercial establishments, so yung mga factory natin, yung mga restaurants, no? Agriculture, community, household activities. For example, ng agriculture is, let's say, meron tayong commercial farm, yung malaking farm ng, let's say, maraming mga nagpo-produce ng ating animal products like poultry or beef. Paano mina-manage kanilang waste? Ito ba ay sinisiguradong hindi na itatapon sa ating mga water bodies or bodies of water? This law provides for a comprehensive integrated strategy to prevent and minimize pollution through a multi-sectoral and participatory approach involving all the. Then here, no, sa EMB, RA 9512 or Environmental Awareness and Education Act of 2008. This act provides promotion of environmental awareness through environment education. So, kasama dito ang CHED, ang TESDA, ang DSWD in coordination with the DENR, DOST. Sila ang responsible for implementing public education and awareness programs on environmental protection and conservation. Right? So ano naman ang mga functions ng EMB? Ang kasama sa functions ng EMB ay itong mga nakikita nyo sa slide na ito. Okay? So, but focus more on the mandate based on the related laws that we have discussed earlier. So, as you can see, kasama dito yung to monitor the compliance with the laws that we have discussed earlier. Batas na diniscuss natin kanina, if you need a permit in relation to those laws, sa EMB tayo mag-a-apply. Alright? Next. So ito yung mga services ng EMB. So dito niyo siya makikita. Next, bureau, the second one, would be the Mines and Geosciences Bureau, the MGB. No, hindi magandang gabi bayan ha. MGB, Mines and Geosciences Bureau. It is responsible for the administration and disposition of mineral lands and mineral resources. So dito naman yung mga pagmimina. Dito kasama yung conduct of geological mining, metallurgical, chemical, and researches, as well as geological and mineral exploration surveys. May mamimina ba tayo dyan? Right? So under the Mining Act of 1995, the Bureau is responsible for the administration and disposition of mineral lands and mineral resources. Sila ang bahala doon. Next, so ano yung services na ino-offer ng MGB? They have metallurgical laboratory services. They have geological laboratory services and geological services. So, ano yung mga dapat na i-apply sa MGB? So, these things, sa MGB tayo mag-a-apply. Mineral Production Sharing Agreement, renewal of exploration permit, mga special mines permit, mineral processing permit, sa MGB siya ina-apply. Okay? Next, maybe this bureau is the one closest to the hearts of forestry students, the FMB or the Forest Management Bureau, diba? The Forest Management Bureau of the DENR provides technical guidance to the central and field officers for the protection, development, and conservation of forest lands and watershed. So kasama ang watershed sa pinapangalagaan ng Forest Management Bureau. Ang Forest Management Bureau ang magre-recommend ng policies and programs towards the achievement of sustainable forest management based on science and principles of good forest governance. Kaya nga ang course natin, di ba, BS Forestry, Bachelor of Science in Forestry, because we are a science-based course. Okay? Next. Ano naman ang pwede i-apply or ano ang services na ino-offer ng Forest Management Bureau? So as you can see, sila rin ang nangangalaga sa Community-Based Forest Management Agreement, Forest Land Grazing Management Agreement. Yung private land timber permit sa kanila to. Special land use permit sa kanila din. So anything na related sa wood, timber permit sa kanila to. So itong mga certificates din is sa kanila. Certificate of registration as log or lumber dealer. Kung magbebenta ka ng mga kahoy, sa kanila to kinukuha. Certificate of origin for logs, timber, lumber, and non-timber forest products. Certificate of stewardship, certificate of tree plantation ownership, kanila ito lahat. Pati yung chainsaw registration, sa kanila. Diba, remember the Chainsaw Act? Bawal ang paggamit ng chainsaw ng walang permit. So, sa kanila rin magpaparegister ng chainsaw. Okay? Next, fourth one is the Land Management Bureau. Kawanihan ng pamamahala sa mga lupain. Ano naman ito? Under the EO 192, the Land Management Bureau is created and it shall absorb the functions and powers of the former Bureau of Lands. No? Ano ba ang mandato ng LMB? It shall be the it shall advise the DENR Secretary on matters pertaining to rational land classification management. And this position shall have the following jobs. Number one, recommend policies and programs for the efficient and effective administration, surveys, management, and disposition of alienable and disposable land of the public domain and other lands outside the responsibilities of other government agencies. Example, reclaimed areas and areas not needed for or are not being utilized for the purposes for which they have been established. Remember, the theory is that all lands are lands of public domain. And hindi siya pwedeng maging alienable and disposable unless siya ay part ng agricultural lands, 'di ba? So dito 'yon papasok. Ang LMB ang nagre-recommend at nagmamanage sa disposition of alienable and disposable lands of public domain. Okay? Ano pang iba nilang mandato? Assist in the monitoring and evaluation of land surveys, management and disposition of lands, to ensure efficiency and effectiveness thereof. Ang LMB rin ang application of standards, guidelines, regulations to enforce policies for the maximization of land use and development. Sila rin ang nag-a-assist sa Secretary in carrying out provisions of the Public Land Act at sila ang may, ang DENR ang may direct executive control of the survey, classification, lease, sale, or any other forms of concession or disposition and management of the lands of public domain. Ano yung mga programs and projects ng LMB? They are, sila yung namamahala sa RLGM or Responsible Land Governance in Mindanao, Rapid Land Tenure Appraisal, RLTA yon. Okay? Sila rin ang Land Administration and Management System, Land Disposition, National Cadastral Survey Program. Baka nagtataka kayo ha, dito rin po ba yung Register of Deeds? Ang Register of Deeds ay hindi under sa DENR, sa ibang agency po sila. Okay? Next is the Biodiversity Management Bureau. Ano naman ang mandato ng BMB, Biodiversity Management Bureau? Sila ang bahala sa pag-establish at pag-manage ng protected areas. Sila rin ang responsible for conserving wildlife, promoting and institutionalizing ecotourism, ay yung pag-manage ng coastal biodiversity and wetlands ecosystem, sila din yon. No? How about the caves and cave resources? Yes, it is within the jurisdiction of the Biodiversity Management Bureau. So, yung information and education, of course, regarding biodiversity and nature conservation, that is under them. Sila rin yung nag-manage ng Parks and Wildlife Center sa Quezon City. No? Negotiating biodiversity-related multilateral environmental agreements and monitoring the national implementation. Okay. So ano naman ang services ng BMB? Sila yung gumagawa ng or nag-grant ng sites permit. Sila rin yung namamahala sa gratuitous permit and MOA for biodiversity research. Also, yung bioprospecting undertaking for terrestrial biological resources. That's also them. Okay. Ito namang Last, no, ang Ecosystems Research and Development Bureau. Okay? Ang ERDB is the principal research and development unit of the DNR. So kung may research and development, mostly sa kanila ito nakaatas. Okay? The R&D and extension activities are focused on the 5 major ecosystems of the Philippines, which include forests, upland farms, grassland and degraded areas, coastal zone and freshwater and urban areas. So, ERDD, Ecosystems Research and Development Bureau, ang namamahala sa mga ito. Okay? So, ano ang main functions ng ERDB? They formulate, implement, coordinate, and evaluate integrated research, development, and extension agenda programs on environment and natural resources. Di ba kasi sabi nga natin, research and development ang kanilang main thrust. Kaya sila rin ang nagko-conduct ng basic research and develop standards, protocol, and science-based technologies to address the needs of the different DENR bureaus. Okay? They provide technical assistance by developing and maintaining networks and linkages with bureaus and offices, local and international institutions, and other stakeholders in civil society. Or they can also perform other functions that may be assigned by their bosses. So ito po yung ibang mga function ng ERDB research centers. So ito naman is the Watershed and Water Resource Research Development and Extension Center. Isa ito sa mga centers ng ERDB. So please don't have the misconception na isa pa itong bureau. No, the WWRRDEC is under the ERDB. Okay? The center is located in Baguio, okay? And it's geared towards Center of Excellence for Watershed and Water Resources. Isa pang center under the ERDB, the Toxic and Hazardous Waste Research, Development, and Extension Services. Extension Center, rather. The center provides assistance, disseminates information, and awareness campaign on the effects of toxic chemical substances, mixtures, and hazardous waste on the health and environment. Remember, di ba kanina when we discussed the toxic waste management, ang pinaka-iniiwasan talaga natin is the harmful effect of these toxic substances on humans and the environment. No? It anticipates adverse effects on human health and the environment. Okay. So ito naman, hindi na sila bureaus, but nonetheless, they are attached agencies to the DENR. So ito naman ay ang NAMRIA. Ano ba yung NAMRIA? The National Mapping and Resource Information Authority. What is the task of NAMRIA? NAMRIA is mandated to provide the public with map-making services and to act as the central mapping agency, depository, and distribution facility for natural resources data in the form of maps, charts, texts, and statistics. Baka dito papasok yung inyong GIS knowledge, right? So, sa NAMRIA yon. Okay. So, ayan ang mga services ng NAMRIA, surveying and mapping, GIS development, geomatics training, certifications, data processing, museum of surveying and mapping, pati library and documentation. So yung ating mga forestry students na magaling sa GIS, baka interested kayong sumali sa NAMRIA. No? Baka gusto nyo dyan magtrabaho in the future. Okay? Next is the Palawan Council for Sustainable Development. Ano naman ang nakaatas sa SEP for Palawan Act. No? Ang SEP law is purposefully designed for the province of Palawan to ensure the province's natural environment is protected and conserved. Ang general philosophy ng SEP law is sustainable development for the betterment of present generations' quality of life through the integration of development and environmental protection programs. The next attached agency is the Laguna Lake Development Authority or the LLDA. This was created by Republic Act 4850. So, ano ang mission ng Laguna Lake Development Authority? Okay? So, LLDA will carry out the development of the Laguna Lake region with due regard and adequate provisions for environmental management, preservation of the quality of human life and ecological systems, and the prevention of undue ecological disturbances, deterioration, and pollution. Basically, in one sentence, pangalagaan ang Laguna Lake. Pati kasama na ang pag-promote at pag-accelerate ng kanyang development, but in consideration with balanced growth. Right? Services, environmental management, watershed management, fisheries, di ba? Marami tayong mga fisheries activity sa Laguna Lake. Community development, research programs, and Laguna de Bay watershed greening program sa kanila yan. Okay. Next is the Natural Resources Development Corporation. Ano naman ito? Isa siyang GOCC or a government-owned and controlled corporation mandated to hasten the development by promoting or undertaking the development and use of technologies that complement the utilization and conservation of natural resources. Okay? Ano ang mga project nito? So, ito naman ay ang Palawan Wildlife Rescue and Conservation Center. The non-combustion destruction facility for persistent organic pollutants and government properties. Okay. Ito naman ang National Water Resources Board. So as you can see here, ito yung mga mandated laws that concern NWRB. So ito ang pinakaunang batas is for the National Water Resources Council, and then yung mga sumunod are the laws pertaining to the NWRB. So ano naman ang mga ginagawa or mga services that you can avail from this agency? Dito ka mag-apply ng water permit application, registered drillers, domestic use registration, water resource regions, water permittees, hanggat dam water level. Sila ang namamahala. Malapit na tayo matapos, guys. Okay. So, next would be the Philippine Mining Development Corporation. Ano naman ang mandato ng PMDC? They are primarily tasked to conduct and carry on the business of exploring and developing mining, smelting, and producing, transporting, storing, distributing, lahat na, exchanging, ano-ano yon ng mga gold, silver, copper, iron, and all kinds of mineral deposits and substances. No? So, sila yung namamahala. Basically, they are the government-owned mining company. So, ano yung mga projects nitong Philippine Mining Development Corporation? So, mineral reservation established by the President when the national interest so requires upon the recommendation of the MGB. Sila yung mamamahala. Okay? With the objective of making the mineral reservations revenue generating. Remember yung mineral reservations, ang may-ari niyan is the state, no? Ang Pilipinas ang may-ari niyan. So, ang mamamahala sa pagmimina doon sa mga mineral reservations is the PMDC. Okay? Examples of the mining corporations activities would be the Batong Buhay Gold Mines and North Davao Mining Corporation. And with that, thank you guys for staying until the end of this lecture. I hope it gave you a preliminary or insight regarding the DENR. So I hope you learned something from this lecture. If you want to follow me on Twitter, please follow the handle @RockyFix. All right? So see you in the next lecture. Thank you guys and good luck.